Last time on my top 20 favorite Super Nintendo games. And now, the conclusion.
Number 10, Sunset Riders. I had never even heard of Sunset Riders when I was a kid, but I kept seeing it on top 100 lists, so I sought out a copy, and I'm glad I did. If you've never played it or know nothing about it, it's basically like Contra set in the Wild West. It's a fast-paced action shooter. You can play two-player co-op, and at the beginning of the game you get to choose from 4 different characters. But in my opinion, the best way to play is with the pink-clad Cormono and his wide-shot shotgun. Now, the game also has some nice variety with horse riding shootouts and train top battles and stampedes. But in my personal opinion, my favorite part is the boss battles. In Contra, the boss battles honestly are kind of forgettable, but not in this game. I will never forget the bar fight with the Smith brothers or battling Chief Wigwam in the desert. Sunset Riders is an awesome game, and it's number 10 on my list. Number 9. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan as a kid, with toys and comic books, and I played the heck out of the first and second games on the NES. But when Turtles in Time came out, I felt like it finally had done the Turtles justice, and that it paid a lot of homage to the cartoon and the toys. Now, not only is this my favorite Turtles game of all time, this may be my favorite beat-em-up game of all time as well. Throwing foot soldiers, slamming them back and forth on the ground, traveling through time, fighting the best characters from the Turtles universe, and a co-op mode? What more can you ask for? This game is awesome, and that's why it's number 9 on my list. Number 8, Chrono Trigger. What can I say about the epic masterpiece Chrono Trigger? I'm sure a lot of people would put this game at number 1, or at the very least they'd put it in their top 5 games for the system. For me, it falls to number 8, and it's mostly for nostalgic reasons, not because it's a bad game, it's a great game. Things I love about this game. I love the active battle system. It's simple, but very enjoyable. I love the time travel theme. I love the cast of characters. I mean, in this game you're going to meet up with a frog from 600 AD, and a robot from 2300 AD, and a prehistoric girl from 65 million BC, and somehow they managed to weave a story where all of these characters unite for a common goal. That is quite a feat, and is part of the reason why I love this game, and why it's number 8 on my list. Number 7, Demon's Crest. The first time I heard of Demon's Crest was from Nintendo Power's issue 100. They were doing a top 100 games of all time list. And they actually said that the game generated negative sales at one point, where more people returned the game than actually bought it. Now, it's definitely not because it's a bad game. The only thing I can guess is that maybe calling it Demon's Crest and having a decidedly satanic figure on the front made some American moms a little nervous. I don't know. What I do know is that I really enjoy Demon's Crest. It's the third part in the series called Gargoyle's Quest. One was on Game Boy, number 2 was on the NES, and this is for the Super Nintendo. And you play as Firebrand, who originally showed his face in the Ghosts and Goblins games as the Red Devil. Now, the game has beautiful graphics, amazing sound, and it has a basic gameplay move where you can float or stick to walls, and this allowed the developers to come up with some pretty creative platforming ideas. But what I really love about the game are the 6 elemental crests. There is fire, earth, air, water, time, and heaven. And when you find these crests, they not only change the way Firebrand looks, but they also change his abilities. And these abilities then you can access new areas and find new hidden power-ups by re-exploring previously explored areas of the game. So I love that sort of mechanic in games, and Demon Crest pulls it off to a high degree. I love this game, and that's why Demon's Crest is number 7 on my list. Number 6. Super Punch-Out! I love how Super Nintendo games were basically like Nintendo games, only super. And Super Punch-Out is a perfect example of this. The jumbo-sized sprites were gorgeous, Little Mac was less little, and the cast of characters was kind of crazy. Some of the favorites from the past, like Bald Bull and Super Macho Man, came back. But some of the new characters, like the Mexican wrestler Masked Muscle who would spit on you, or the 78-year-old Chinese man Hoy Quarlo who would beat you with his cane, or Mad Clown who juggled and threw balls at you, or the very, very creepy Hike Kigero. This cast of characters was phenomenal, and it made this game really enjoyable to play to see who you were going to fight next. Ultimately, the game is just about fight patterns and timing, and it can be pretty challenging. But when you finally beat a fighter, the satisfaction is great. And these are the reasons why I love Super Punch-Out! Number 5. Contra III: The Alien Wars. Running, gunning, explosions, helicopters, motorcycle chases, spread shots, flamethrowers, lasers, homing missiles. Contra III: The Alien Wars, in my opinion, is the epitome of action in gaming. When you play this game, you literally have no time to stop and breathe. You'll be constantly bombarded with a barrage of attackers and scripted action sequences. The game is amazing. It's phenomenal. Now, there are some levels that are top-down that use the Mode 7 capabilities, and some people don't really like these levels as much as the side-scrolling levels. I still think they're quite fun, and overall this game is amazing. To make it to top 5 for me, this game is amazing. If you like action games and you haven't played this game, then you don't know what you're missing, so you've got to get it. Number 4. Mega Man X. Mega Man X took everything I loved about the Mega Man franchise and supercharged it. The game design was a little sleeker, a little bit more mature. The levels were meant to be revisited with all kinds of new power-ups and upgrades, and the basic moveset was even altered with Mega Man now having the ability to stick to walls. These things made X great, but the upgrades, in each of the original 8 stages now, there was a hidden heart tank that would increase your life meter. There were also hidden in 4 of the stages sub-tanks that would be on your sub-screen that you could fill up and later on use to fill up your life. And the other 4 stages had a hidden energy capsule where Dr. Light would come out and give you a suit upgrade, whether it be the ability to dash or to power up and charge up all of your special weapons. You throw in 8 new bosses, a moving roller coaster platform, ride armor, all of these things together, and you have the recipe for my 4th favorite game on the Super Nintendo. Number 3. Super Mario World. It's really difficult to narrow down among the top 3 what should go where, but I ended up putting Mario World at number 3. Now this is the game that was meant to showcase the Super Nintendo's hardware, the launch game that everyone wanted. It was the game that everyone drooled over, looking at pictures in magazines, that I drooled over, imagining the colors and the multiple scrolling backgrounds that I'd read about. I was really looking forward to this game. I love this game so much that to this day I still play it once a year during summer vacation. There's just something so pure about this game. this elegant, simple design that took all the things that were great about Mario 3, but kind of boiled away some of the superfluous power-ups, things that weren't really necessary, and added Yoshi and a cape feather and some excellent visuals from the Super Nintendo, and it all resulted in what I consider to be the purest 2D platforming experience in all of gaming, Super Mario World. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Well, it just so happened that summer of 1992 that I had to have an operation and I was going to be stuck in bed for weeks. Well, that was also the summer my brother bought a Super Nintendo along with Mario World and Legend of Zelda. And I played Legend of Zelda to death. I played it inside and out, and this is back in a time before Nintendo had standardized some sort of Zelda formula. This is back when the overworld was massive, and you didn't really know where to go, you just had to search and explore. This was Zelda at its best, and I have so many memories, little vignette memories of this game, like Kiki the monkey, or the man under the bridge with the bottle, or helping the old man through the caves, or entering the Dark World for the first time and becoming a bunny, or hearing the theme of Hyrule Castle for the very first time, or the flute boy playing to a crowd of little critters, the dwarven swordsmiths tempering the Master Sword, and of course, when the clouds parted as you drew the Master Sword from its pedestal. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, simply put, is one of the finest gaming experiences in history. It is a masterpiece, and it's number 2 on my list. Number 1! Well, actually, before I go on, let me just do some honorable mentions of some really great games that didn't make my list. Some of these are huge, and they probably would make your list, maybe even your top 3 or number 1 game of all time. Number 1, Super Metroid. What makes Super Metroid a masterpiece? It can't be pinpointed because it isn't really one thing, but rather the entire shiny, pristine golden package. It's the beauty of looking at the game, and the music that haunts and resonates with you when you're done playing. It's the delight of exploring this emotionally diverse world, and the pure exhilaration of discovering every glorious upgrade, and every missile expansion hidden in every clever location. It's the integrated world, and the map, and the upgrade system which define the so-called Metroidvania subgenre. It's the secret abilities and powers that were never mentioned in the booklet, and the secret abilities and powers that were never intended. It's the memorable moments. It's the fact that Super Metroid is the perfect speedrun game, and it's a game that transcends the game and becomes something of an art form to master. It's the fact that I cannot find a flaw with this game. Simply put, Super Metroid, in my opinion, is the greatest game of all time.